If you're thinking of selling your home and you're wondering just how much you'll be able to walk away from the transaction with, stick around because in this video, we're going to be discussing seller closing costs. And I'm going to show you how to calculate exactly how much you'll net after the sale of your home. All right, now when determining how much you'll be able to walk away from the transaction with, you're going to need a few numbers to help you do this math, to help you do this calculation. The very first thing you'll need is your anticipated sales amount. And this is essentially how much you think a buyer will be able to purchase your property for. So you can find this number from a few places, or you can develop and determine this number from a few places. The first place that you can go are some websites like Zillow, Realtor.com or Trulia.com. And what you want to do when you get to these websites is find properties that have sold within a half-a-mile radius of your property. Look at their sale prices. Make sure that they are similar properties to yours in terms of the square footage, in terms of the number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, and also in terms of the year that it was built. Take a look at the make of these properties and the condition of these properties to ensure that their condition are similar to yours. So you're only utilizing properties that are considered similar properties and comparable properties. Once you have about 3 or 5 of these properties, find the average sales price of this property, and you can use that to help you determine what your anticipated sales price will be for your property. That's one method. Another method that'll help you determine the anticipated sales price of your property is just to look down in the description box below, and I have a free link that gives you a free comparable market analysis and essentially does the legwork that I just described for you. It will give you similar properties. It'll give you a list of properties that have sold within your neighborhood, and you can then use that to determine what a potential anticipated sales price should be for your property. All right, so once you have determined your anticipated sales price, next you're going to need your mortgage balance. Now, obviously, with whatever proceeds come from the sale of your home, if you still have a remaining balance on your mortgage, you're going to need those proceeds and use those proceeds to pay off the remaining balance on your mortgage. So you need to know what that number is. You can get that by looking at your previous statements, or you can get that by calling your lender directly and making that request. But once you have that number, you're going to want to deduct your mortgage balance from your anticipated sale proceeds. And that'll give you a working number to start with to give us a sense of how much you'll be able to walk away from the transaction with. The next thing you'll need in determining how much you'll net after you sell your home is your annual property taxes. So property taxes are always deducted from your sale proceeds, and they're done in a prorated fashion. So what you'll need is that annual number. You'll take that annual number, how much you're responsible for in any given calendar year, and you're going to divide that by 365 days because there are 365 days in a calendar year. This will then give you your daily rate, your daily responsibility when it comes to your property taxes. And then you're going to multiply this daily responsibility by the number of days that you held residence in your household prior to the sale of your home. Now, obviously, you may not know this number. You may not have the actual number of days before you sell your home, but you can estimate that, right? So if you've already been in your home for, say, 100 days, and you know it takes anywhere from 4 to 6 months to actually sell and close on a property, you can then just add 100 to 180, which will be 6 months times 30, give you 180 days. So if you add 100 to 180, that gives you 280 days. You multiply 280 days by your daily rate, and that'll give you your prorated property tax responsibility for the year prior to the sale of your home. Now, if you have already prepaid your taxes, or if you found that you've paid more than was your actual responsibility, you've paid more than was due, you will receive a refund check at closing. But just do the math in this fashion to give you a sense of exactly how much you'll be walking away from the transaction with. The next thing you're going to want to calculate is your anticipated legal fees. Now, these fees tend to range anywhere from $1,500 to $2,500, and they're to pay the lawyer that is helping you throughout this real estate transaction, throughout the sale of your home. Now, as I said, they range from $1,500 to about $2,500. I always use $1,500 when I'm working with my clients. Most of the lawyers that I use tend to charge between $1,500 to $1,800. Anything above $2,500 for a standard residential home, I would say is a little high. So you won't go wrong if you cap it at 2,500. All right, so unfortunately I lost my video, so I'm going to record this section just over this still shot of me smiling. So the next thing that you'll need when calculating your seller closing costs is your real estate transfer taxes. Now, depending on where you are in the greater New York City region, this percentage is going to differ. If you live on Long Island, you'll only be responsible for paying the New York State property transfer tax of 0.4%. If, however, you live within the 5 boroughs, New York City has its own property transfer tax, and it depends on the anticipated sales amount. So if your anticipated sales amount is $500,000 or below, then you'll incur a property transfer tax of 1%. If, however, your anticipated sales amount is above $500,000, then your New York City transfer taxes will be 1.425%. So if you live within the 5 boroughs, if you live in New York City, you'll be responsible for paying anywhere from 1.4% to 1.825% in property transfer taxes. And that will be the combination of New York State transfer tax plus New York City transfer tax. But all in all, the maximum that you'll be paying in property transfer taxes is 1.825%. The next thing you're going to want to determine is your real estate sales fee. And this is just the percentage that you and your real estate agent, you and your realtor have determined they will be paid as a result of helping you to sell your home. Now, standard rate in the state of New York is 6%. However, if you come across an agent who's willing to help you with the sale of your home for less than this percentage, you can just calculate it as you will. This percentage is a percentage of your anticipated sales amount. So just be sure that you're multiplying it by your total anticipated sales amount as opposed to any other number throughout this video. So what I'd like to do now is walk you through an Excel file that I created to help you do exactly all of the steps that I just referenced, all of the steps that I just demonstrated. So with this Excel file, you'll enter all of the inputs that I just referenced, and you'll be able to have the file, the Excel file, do the work for you in terms of calculating how much you'll be able to net after the sale of your home. So let's get into it. All right, so here is an Excel file that I created to help you determine what your seller closing costs will be, as well as how much you'll net after you sell your home. And I want to call your attention to the 2 tabs at the very bottom. So the very first tab is your inputs tab. It's tab number 1. This is a tab where you're going to enter all of the items that we discussed in the first half of the video. And then tab number 2 is the output. So this file is designed to draw your inputs directly into your output and then calculate what your net will be in terms of what you walk away from the transaction with. Okay, so let's get started. So the very first question that the inputs tab is asking is, it's asking you to select where your property is located. Now this is to help us determine what your real estate transfer taxes will be. So this cell is actually a drop down, and what you're going to do is you're going to determine, or you're going to enter, whether or not your property is located in Nassau County or in the 5 boroughs in New York City. So for this example, let's just assume that it's located in Nassau County. Next, you're going to enter your anticipated sales price. Now remember, I did advise you to calculate this and determine this on your own. You can utilize the CMA, the free CMA report that I provide, which is the link is in the description, or you can also use websites like Zillow or Trulia.com or Realtor.com to determine what your anticipated sales price would be. And this, I'm just going to enter 700,000 in the cell. Next, you're going to enter what your mortgage balance is. So this is something that you can find in your bank statements. You can call your lender, and they can help you determine it. Let's just assume that for this example, there's $250,000 remaining on the mortgage. Then you're going to enter your annual property taxes. Now, remember we talked about having to prorate this number. So this is how much you're responsible for the full calendar year. And let's just assume property taxes are annual property taxes are $6,000. Next, we're going to enter the number of days that we've lived in the home before the sale. This will allow us to prorate the number that we just entered on question number 4, which is our annual property taxes. So let's assume that we lived in the home for 180 days prior to its sale. And then next, number 6 is asking for the anticipated legal fees. As I mentioned in the video, I always go with 1,500. You're more than welcome to enter the number that your lawyer will charge. And then the final thing that it's requesting, number 7, is the real estate agent commission percentage. Again, this is going to be a percentage of the anticipated sales price, sales amount. So we're going to enter the standard rate of 6%. After you have completed all of these questions here, you can then go to tab number 2, the output, and you'll see that everything has been populated for you. The house sale amount is populated here. The mortgage owed balance is here. Commissions paid has been calculated and populated. Transfer taxes has also been calculated and populated. Your prorated property taxes have been populated, as well as your legal fees. Now it's telling you what your total seller closing costs are in this red cell here, and it's calculated as $298,300. This number is deducted from your house sale amount of $700,000, and you'll see that your net to seller is $401,700. So this Excel file will be available for download in the description box. So if you find that useful, you're more than welcome to download it and make use of it in determining what your total seller closing costs will be, and in helping you to figure out how much you'll net if you were to sell your home. All right, so that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next one.